Hey, how's it going? One of my online students emailed me the other day and they said, hey, thanks a lot for that backhand tip, you know, how to use the non-dominant hand. And they said, do you have anything for the forehand? For improving, you know, the power on your forehand. Well, the same is true for the forehand as the backhand, as far as you don't want to muscle the ball. You know, by gripping the racket too tight. You want to be very loose with the grip. You know, you're holding it, again, like you're holding that small bird on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the tightest. You're down around a 2 or 3. If the grip is too tight, remember, the whole arm is going to be tight, including the shoulder. And the shoulder being loose is one of the keys to a good forehand. It's key to power, net clearance, you know, getting good height over the net so your shots are landing deep. A lot of it is a loose shoulder. You know, when you look at a guy like Djokovic, he's a tall, lanky guy, but he's a very flexible guy. He's very loose and flexible, and I really think that's one of the reasons that he's now starting to overtake, or he's really challenging right now, Nadal and Federer. He seems to have Federer's number right now. So even Nadal, I mean, he's more muscular, but he also is very loose in the shoulder. Now, you know, a perfect example, you'll see some kid out there, he's a junior player, weighs about 90 pounds, and they're hitting the ball a ton. Now, how do they do that? Well, they get the racket speed moving because the shoulder is loose. The shoulder is nice and relaxed and loose, and they're using their body like a whip, you know, that kinetic chain, and that's the key. And the thing is, as we get older, I'm 61 now, so I'm getting up there. I'm still dealing with a sore knee, so I'm hoping this thing gets better, but I think I have more to go. But anyway, as we get older, the joints get tighter. Now, if you don't keep up a good stretching program, your forehand is going to get worse and worse. So do your forehand a favor, your serve, your backhand, all your strokes, by loosening up the shoulder. Now, I've got a little drill for you can do. I've got a 3-pound weight here. I call this weight-assisted stretch. And what it does is it helps stretch out your shoulder. So a typical racket only weighs, you know, nowadays, you know, they're even below 12 ounces, which I don't recommend. I think you need something over 12. So check out an Avery racket. What you'll do with this is, you know, just like you're going to hit a forehand, you're set to hit, and then you just let the weight drop, and you stretch all of this. You need to stretch this, and when the weight falls, you're loosening up the shoulder just by letting the weight drop and then coming through. So this is a weighted stretch, and it tends to lengthen this and loosen it up. It's not a lot of weight. I mean, you could use less than 3 pounds. You could use 2 pounds or 1.5 pounds, whatever. And there's an added advantage to this. When you use this, it helps you get that feeling of dropping the racket. Drop the racket, because remember, the dropping the racket below the contact point is what gives you net clearance all the time. That's why you very rarely see Djokovic hit in the net. He's so loose in the shoulder. So, very loose grip. Just barely hold this weight, just let it hang. And then just focus on lengthening and loosening the shoulder. That's key for your forehand, because the looser the shoulder is, the looser the entire arm is, The more racket head speed you're going to have, the more power you're going to have on your forehand, and the added benefit, your rackets go, if you see what happens is some people, they get to here, if you're tight here in the shoulder, the racket never drops enough. It goes down a little bit, but not enough to get good net clearance, or you'll dump it in the net. But if the shoulder's relaxed and loose, boom, see the racket just, the shoulder just relaxes, drops down, and then you come back up. So another thing you want to do is shoulder stretches on a daily basis. Okay, there's one more piece to the puzzle about hitting a more powerful forehand. Now, you know from my past videos, I am not one to say use the wrist to roll over the ball. That's the worst thing you want to do for topspin. However, if you want to increase your pace with your forehand, you have to know how to use the wrist properly. Now, your racket comes back. All right. Now I drop my racket down, I start to swing. Now as I'm swinging forward, notice the wrist here is slightly laid back. Okay? Now, as I get close to contact, right in this area here, here's the contact, okay? Now, right before contact, let the wrist go. But notice the racket's still staying vertical. I'm not trying to roll over anything. But the wrist, but by letting that wrist go forward, you're relaxing, and that's the last part of that kinetic chain. I mean, from the ground up, right? You've got the knee stops first, then the hips, then the torso. Now the arm's coming through. And as the arm's coming through, the wrist is laid back slightly, and right there before contact, boom. You just let the wrist go, relax the arm, and you come around here for your finish. The whole arm has to be loose, like spaghetti. Not al dente, it's got to be real loose, real loose. That way, like Djokovic, he's the loosest guy out there, he's getting the best results. He's in top shape, he must do a lot of stretching. Just looking at that guy, he's like a rubber band. So anyway, I'm going to just show you a few demos on the forehand. Okay, remember, when you're practicing, 2 key points you want going through your mind. That way you're going to burn that new signal in the brain. Okay, so we're trying to pick up the racket speed on the forehand, so we're thinking loose grip, loose shoulder. That's all we're thinking right now. 4 words: loose grip, loose shoulder. Concentrate on those. All right, here we go. Loose grip, loose shoulder. That's all I'm thinking right now. Holding that racket like I'd be holding a little bird, and I'm just trying to let my shoulder relax and lengthen the muscles in that shoulder. Okay, now I'm going to add that other dimension. I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm thinking loose shoulder, let the wrist go. So loose shoulder, wrist go. 4 words again. Loose shoulder, wrist go. Right before contact, let the wrist relax and go. You're going to pick up, remember that kinetic chain, that last bit, boom. All the speed has come down to here. Now that last little bit there gives you a little more speed. Loose shoulder, wrist go. There we go. Loose shoulder, wrist go. I'm flattening it out a little bit here. I'm not clearing the net by much. I'm just kind of going for I'd be going for a winner if I had a ball sitting in the middle of the court here. So loose shoulder, let it go. Loose shoulder, wrist go. And if I want more top, I'm still letting that wrist go because I'm going to get more pop on it. So those are some tips that'll surely give you some more racket speed. Please post any comments or questions at the website. Have a great one.